It is now my honor to invite Yair Caplan to deliver the valedictorian address.
Bershus, Harabanim, teachers, family, distinguished guests, and fellow graduates. First and foremost, tonight is a night for reflection. As we officially mark the end of our high school careers, it is incumbent upon us to step back and think about tonight's significance and assess where we stand and where we're headed. Yet in the age of smartphones and constant stimuli, it can be difficult to commune with our own thoughts and truly reflect on our situations. Nevertheless, we must try, because, as the philosopher John Dewey put it, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. In reflecting on these past 4 years, we might be inclined to focus solely on the major milestones, but more often than not, the mundane experiences are the ones with the greatest power. Late in 8th grade, I was still on the fence about where to go for high school. I had gone to the group visitation days at a variety of schools, but I had yet to make up my mind. One night over dinner, my mother mentioned in passing, "Yair, why don't you go for another visitation day to MTA on a regular day and see what a school day is really like?" So I did. And obviously there were other considerations in choosing MTA, but specifically that night, when I got off the bus, I remember my mom asking me, "So, how was it?" And I replied, "This is the place where I want to be." 4 years later, I think about how much in my life is due to that one moment, that one little suggestion over dinner. The Gemara in Kiddushin, Daf Mem Amud Beis, suggests that before one takes any action, he should assume that his heavenly scale of merits and demerits is at a perfect balance, such that this action has the power to tip the scale one way or the other, deeming him either a tzaddik gamor or a rasha gamor. Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon takes it a step further. He maintains that the whole world is in a similarly precarious state of equilibrium, and one person's actions can determine the fate of the entire world. The message is clear. Every single thing that we do matters, and our choices have incredible importance, not only for ourselves, but for the world around us as well. Similarly, we find in last week's Sedra the story of a group of individuals who were ritually impure during the time of the Pesach offering in the Midbar, and therefore could not participate in bringing the sacrifice. They begged Moshe to grant them another chance to perform the mitzvah. And lo and behold, God tells Moshe that these individuals are indeed deserving of a second chance, and thus the laws of Pesach Sheni were born. What seems strange about this story is the mere fact that these individuals had the apparent chutzpah to ask. Is it not haughty and self-centered to demand that an exception be made for oneself in the context of a communal offering? Yet Hashem made a point of ensuring that these individuals could take part in the mitzvah. Why is this? The answer, of course, is that the recognition that each person's contribution in Avodas Hashem is critical to the community as a whole is not hubris, but rather humble pragmatism. These individuals knew that the korban is only whole and complete when brought by Kol Kahal Adas Yisrael, the entirety of the Jewish nation. And they realized that their minor contribution was anything but. In truth, each person's every action is tremendously impactful, and it's critical for us to recognize this and not downplay our importance. Yet we must balance this positive gaiva with an appreciation for our roles in the greater community. Rashi, at the beginning of Bechukosai, is bothered by something that would surely bother anyone with a bent toward mathematics. The pasuk states that if we follow the Torah and mitzvos, we will succeed against our enemies, such that Viradfu mikem chamisha me'ah, ume'ah mikem rivava. 5 of you, Bnei Yisrael, will pursue 100 of the enemy, and 100 of you will pursue 10,000. Rashi points out that the ratios are not equal. 5 pursuing 100 is a ratio of 1 to 20, and 100 pursuing 10,000 is 1 to 100. Why the disparity? Rashi answers beautifully. Eino domem mu'atin ha'osines haTorah limirubin ha'osines haTorah. There is no comparison between a few people who follow the Torah and a multitude who follow the Torah. Thus, in a larger group, each person can pursue 100, as opposed to only 20 when working with a smaller group. As much as we matter as individuals, we can accomplish astronomically greater achievements as part of a larger, like-minded group. Looking forward to the future, we must remember to constantly ask ourselves, am I doing my part to ensure that I act justly, tipping the scales of the world towards merit? Am I building myself into a member of a community with a greater purpose? And looking back on this night of reflection and self-evaluation, we should ponder our high school experience through the lens of these principles. Most likely, we cannot point to any single event during the last 4 years that completely defined us. But when considering the totality of our experience, every little moment in MTA, whether it was a casual schmooze with a Rebbe, a late-night kumsitz, or a compelling classroom discussion, helped tip the scales of our personalities, molding us into who we are today. And from the communal perspective, I feel lucky to have been a part of the MTA family, and I have immense gratitude to the administration and faculty for creating a true Torah atmosphere in which we could collectively exceed the sum of our parts. In closing, I want to express hakaras hatov to our parents for all that you've done to nurture our growth, for surviving our teenage years, and for choosing to send us to MTA, where we have developed such strong and enduring relationships, which I deeply cherish. We are eternally grateful to our parents for making this entire experience possible, and to each other for making the past 4 years so enjoyable and unforgettable. Thank you, and Mazel Tov.